Hello everyone and welcome to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room and What's on the Shelf Wednesday. In this series I do quick reviews of whiskeys that you could find on the shelf, including bourbons, rye, Irish whiskeys, and scotch. So what's on the shelf today? Four Roses Small Batch. Four Roses has been known for crafting some amazing bourbons using 2 different mash bills and 5 different yeast strains. In total, they craft 10 unique bourbon recipes that you could try individually through their single barrel and private select offerings. But when it comes to their special releases, Small Batch Select and Small Batch, Brent Elliott uses a combination of those recipes to craft unique flavors and textures to cater to all types of bourbon drinkers. Today, I wanted to focus on the seldom talked about Small Batch, which is a bottle that's always on the shelf. Of the 10 Four Roses recipes, 4 are blended together to make Small Batch: OBSK, OESK, OBSO, and OESO. So for those of you that don't know what those 4 letters mean, when I say OBSK or OESO, those are the 4 letters or the letter combinations that Four Roses uses to describe the bourbon's flavor profile. So the first letter is always O and designates the production facility, which is Four Roses Distillery. The second letter designates the mash bill, which can be E, which is 75% corn, 20% rye, and 5% malted barley, or B, which is 60% corn, 35% rye, and 5% malted barley. Now the third letter is always S and designates the whiskey distillation, which is straight whiskey. The fourth letter is what designates the yeast strain, which can be V, which means delicate fruit, K, which is slight spice, O, which is rich fruit, and Q, which is floral essence, or F, which is herbal notes. So for Small Batch, according to Master Distiller Brent Elliott, while exact details vary by batch, the average batch size is approximately 250 barrels. Barrels are typically 6 to 7 years old. Nothing younger than 6 years old is in the bottle, and occasionally barrels as much as 8 years old. As a result, the average age per batch is typically around 6.5 years old. Because of the required flavor profile and volume demand, barrels typically come from multiple aging rickhouses to make up each batch. Small Batch is widely available, bottled at 90 proof, and available for an affordable $30. All right, guys, so with so much attention on the new Small Batch Select, some of their private selects, even the regular single barrel, I feel like the Small Batch kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think it's a great bourbon for introduction to bourbon, especially if someone's looking for something slightly on a higher spice scale, not something so incredibly sweet. So I wanted to review this and talk about it with you guys. So let's go to the nose and see what we get. Man, so the first thing you get on the nose here is caramel, some spice, and some fruit, which makes a lot of sense because the 2 yeast strains they're using dominantly are their K and their O, which is the blend of the Small Batch in the bottle. So K, which means slightly spicy, and then you have the O, which means, very fruit forward. And you're definitely getting that from a first impression. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of peach and apricot, which is, I think, a nose that, or a scent, I should say, that you really do get from Four Roses, especially when you get into the limited editions. Get some really beautiful apricot notes, the way Brent Elliott blends them together. Good amount of oak influence, some spice there. Definitely your vanillas. But yeah, the combination of spice and sweet, it's like peaches or apricots with some pepper on it. It is slightly herbal too. You do get a little of a minty characteristic there too. There's a nice mint spice, which is one of the trademarks to me for Four Roses. Yeah, it's just a very balanced, very delicious, inviting nose. So let's go to the palate, see what we get. Cheers. So the first thing that strikes you about this bourbon, for a 90 proofer, it's very creamy. It really attacks the palate really nicely. It's very mouth coating. That's something with these Four Roses blends. They're always, all these batches that they create just really give you a nice creamy mouthfeel to it. You get a lot of that fruit forwardness on the front of the palate. I'm still getting the vanilla, the caramels, but then all those orchard fruits, man. The peaches, the apricots, hint of apple there too, I think. Man, and then as it finishes off, as it works its way back, here comes the spice characteristic from that specific yeast strain. It's definitely there. A little minty on the finish too. Let's go for another sip. Man, tasting this for the first time in a long time. Oh wow, all the caramel just came in now. Wow, and I got some cherry there too. All these flavors that are together in this bottle, they're very delicate, but it's also very, very strong at the same time, if that makes sense. it doesn't overpower the palate, but when you give it time and kind of let it play around your palate, all these different types of flavors really start coming out. You get those fruits. You get the like I said, the peaches, the cherries, but then the caramel and the rye spice really start taking over on the back end. Yeah, that's so good. This is one of those bourbons where you're gonna wanna let it sit on your palate a little bit and just let the flavors happen. I'm sure a lot of you out there can just taste this, and everyone will be able to pull a little bit something different out of it, where it's, if you're a little bit more sensitive to spice, a little bit more sensitive to fruit, I think there's something a little bit here for everyone. And you could say that about even the Small Batch Select and some of the other Four Roses recipes. Just the combination of flavors just provides, I think, a little bit something for everyone. Now remember, you have two different mash bills that they use, whether it be 20% rye or 35% rye. So either way, you're gonna get some good spice from the bottles of Four Roses. So if you're not looking for something, you know, on the sweeter side, like a Buffalo Trace or an Old Forester or Heaven Hill, then Four Roses might be the one you want to try, because it's definitely got that spice to balance out all this fruit. Let's go for another sip. Wow, yeah, same thing. Yeah, the cherry and the peach, maybe the nectarine. All these type of different fruit flavors definitely come through in the palate to balance out that caramel, that honey. It's very delicate, but then if you're looking for that spice kick, like something that really kind of wants you to go back for more in the glass, that's not where it ends. The finish is where you get all that beautiful spice. For a 90 proof bourbon, this has a pretty long finish. I would say this is medium, and that's due to that high rye mash bill, that spice that just hangs around. Man, and you also get some more of those fruit flavors on the back end too. Let's go for one last sip. Cheers. From front to back, it's just vanilla, caramel, a lot of fruit flavors, and I'm talking cherries, peaches, hint of apple there. And then as it works its way back, all that spice and the oak profile comes together. If you're a bourbon drinker, or if you're looking for a flavor profile that is affordable but also gives you balance in every sort of way possible, meaning fruit, spice, oak, all together in one bottle, you should definitely be looking at the Four Roses Small Batch. I think you'd be hard pressed to find something for 30 bucks and under that gives you this kind of mouthfeel, this kind of flavor balance, the spice, the sweet, the fruit flavors, all in, you know, something that's affordable and also very available. It's an amazing bourbon, especially to introduce someone into bourbon. I mean, a lot of people will like these much better, especially more seasoned bourbon drinkers. But this is one of those bourbons where anyone can find something to like about it, especially if you're looking for something with a little bit of a higher rye and a little bit more spice to it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this What's on the Shelf Wednesday episode as we looked at Four Roses Small Batch. Definitely and easily one of the best $30 bourbons on the shelf. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button below. Please hit that like button. If you haven't yet, find me on Instagram, find me on Twitter. Let me know what you think of Small Batch. Do you think it's a little bit underrated? And as I always say, it is not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. So cheers, and I'm gonna have some more Four Roses Small Batch. Take care, everybody. See you next week.